So, there are two ways of drawing this one. The first one is called oblique. And this is where we draw the front view of something and then put depth lines on it. So if I drew a square, my depth lines would go off at 45 degrees or parallel. That's a 45-degree angle. And then I just decide how far back. Now weirdly, with a square, if you want a cube, we need half of that line going back, because things get shorter as they go farther away. That makes it look like a cube. So that's me drawing a cube just as an oblique drawing. If I want to draw my visibadge clip, the shape that we have it, then what I need to start with, there is my clip. I've got a rectangle shape there, so I can start by drawing a rectangle. If it was me drawing it normally, I'd be trying to draw it very faintly. And you can see on the school one, it goes across, down, across, up, bend, and then there's the flap. So that's where the acrylic ends, and then the bend comes round and goes something like that. Because it's acrylic, we need some thickness, and I'm going to, I should have left them, rub my corners out so I can put a curve on the corner, and I can put a thickness on there to show it's acrylic. And the other thing I would normally be doing is moving the paper so that I can draw comfortably. It's a bit cramped when you're just keeping the paper still and you're moving. It makes it very difficult to draw accurately. And that would produce the front of my clip. So long, down, across, up and round and back. And then remember, on an oblique angle we need a 45-degree line coming off along every particular shape that we want to repeat. And again, we decide how far back we need it to go. There's a curvy bit there, so there will be a curvy bit over there. Curvy bit over here. And then parallel to this edge. Get to the curvy bit, parallel to this edge. Haven't quite drawn it right, have I? Don't be frightened to make mistakes. Use your rubber to correct it. And then the front, we'll see come down there somewhere, and the back would be, what's that, about that over there somewhere. So we would see the inside like that. It's quite hard to add the circuit into this bit. You just want to sort of just put a rectangle in there, and then we might have the square switch coming out like that, done in a hurry, so it's not looking terribly good, but that would be the switch, and then you might have the resistor and the cell clip coming there, but you just have to guess those bits. An isometric view, instead of drawing the front view, we want to draw the front edge. So if I was going to do a cube, I would start with the front line of it, and then instead of the lines going off at 45 degrees, they go off at 30 degrees. So my sides of my cube would be going off at 30 degrees. Notice I'm starting to move the paper to keep it accurate. And then if it goes off to the right, the top goes off to the right, parallel. So you're going off at the same angle each time, and the same on the other side, parallel going off at there. If you want to use a ruler, then do. Okay? That's the length. So that length needs to be the same there and there. And I can put a drawing up there, and I can get it about the same there. And then this line is going to go across here. So because I've got that one and that one at that angle, I need it at the same angle there. And then this one's going to come back and meet it, because I've got those lines going off there, it's going to go off there. And if I'd drawn a perfect cube, that line, that cross would have lined up with theirs, but never mind. So that's my isometric cube. And I'm moving the paper because it makes it more comfortable for me to draw, and if I'm more comfortable I can get my line straighter. So that was an isometric cube. Now this again is rectangular, so I need it taller than it is wide. So if I put another piece of paper in front, I'm going to start off with my front edge. I'm going to have my two lines going off at 30 degrees, looks a bit like an arrow, and then I need to decide how far back I'm going to go. So let's make it sort of rectangular, something like that. Now one of these sides I have to decide is the front. So for today this is my front. So this piece bottoms at that angle, tops at that angle, goes across, bottoms at that angle, tops at that angle. Now because it doesn't go all the way across, I'm going to finish a little bit early. And then at this angle we'll come back there. This side is at that angle, so it comes back there, and then I can just draw a curve on there. Curve on the bottom, curve on the bottom. Can you notice how the top curve, because it's a wide angle, the top curve is quite gradual, whereas at the bottom the corners tightened up, so the curve is quite tight. Wide open angle, so it's going to be quite wide like that. And then I've got my little curve at the top here, so I just need to do that there. And this one goes straight, but the one in the booklet goes off at an angle like that. And again, one angle, one angle, one angle, so this is going to go off at that angle. Same gap, and just following down. And because it's made of acrylic, I can go back, add my thickness on it. You notice how I'm doing the straight bits first, and then all the way up here. And in fact I've gone wrong there, haven't I, because I've gone over the top of that bit. Oh, look at that, made a mess. So this line has ended up in the wrong place, so it should have come across there. And there it is, and we don't see this line because it's hidden behind there, and we don't see that line, so that bit's hidden. I've got a hole for the LED. Now if I look straight at a circle it's like that, and it would fit in a rectangle like that, but we've pulled that up there and that out there, so the rectangle's gone slightly skewy, so the circle needs to. So wherever I'm going to put my LED I need a sort of oval shape, and then just below it have my screw, and if I put a line on it, it makes it look like the line on the screw. And I could just put a bit in there. If you have some colours, feel free to add some colours. Let's find a nice colour. I should have sharpened these before I started. It had to be there. Try and keep the shading very light. So not a dark shading, because the acrylic's supposed to be see-through. Shade parallel to an edge, because then the surface looks like it runs at that angle. If you shade at a funny angle, then the surface tends to look at the angle you're shading at. And I'm just trying to curve it round over the top, round and round. And I forgot to put that line's going on there. That line would have gone up there. And then the only other trick sometimes is if you've got a rubber, you can rub out a couple of shade lines and it makes it look a little bit shinier. So when you come to design your version, that's what you could have a go at. Maybe draw it isometric or oblique. Okay?